Before you buy your next iPad, stop for a second. Because if the leaks, supply chain reports, and Apple's long-term patterns are even partly true, the next iPad mini could change everything. The iPad mini 8 might quietly become the most important small device Apple has made in years. It may even end up being the last truly traditional compact tablet Apple ever releases. And that alone makes this decision far more serious than it looks. Buy now or wait? That is the question many people are asking. And today, we're going to break down why this upcoming iPad mini feels different in a way the previous ones did not. First, let's be clear and honest. Apple has not officially announced the iPad mini 8. There is no launch event, no teaser image, no confirmed name, no release date. Everything we are talking about lives in the space between reliable reporting, supply chain leaks, and Apple's very predictable behavior as a company. And that matters, because Apple is one of the most pattern-driven companies in tech. When Apple delays a product for this long, it is never random. The iPad mini has always lived in a strange place. It is not the cheapest iPad. It is not the most powerful. It is not the biggest. But it is the most personal. It is the only iPad you can truly hold in one hand for long periods. The only one that fits easily into a small bag. The only one that feels natural on a couch, on a plane, or in bed. It feels closer to a book than a computer. And that emotional connection is real, even if people do not always admit it. That is why the silence around the iPad mini since the iPad mini 6 launched back in 2021 has been so noticeable. Apple has refreshed the iPad Pro multiple times. It turned the iPad Air into an M-series machine. It updated the entry-level iPad. It pushed iPadOS closer to macOS. And through all of that, the mini stayed frozen in time. Same design, same display issues, same limitations, quietly aging in the background. And Apple rarely lets a product sit this long without a reason. When it finally moves, it usually does so with intent. That is why many people believe the iPad mini 8 will either be a major statement or a quiet goodbye. And that makes this generation especially important. From everything we are hearing, Apple is not planning to radically change the size or shape of the mini. No folding screens, no dramatic size increase, no return of the home button. The flat-edge design is here to stay. The compact footprint stays. The mini will still feel like a large phone rather than a small laptop. And that is exactly what many fans want. But within that familiar shape, Apple is expected to refine almost everything. Bezels are expected to shrink even further. That means more usable screen space without increasing the physical size. Leaks suggest the display could land somewhere between 8.3 and 8.5 inches. That sounds small on paper, but in real use, it matters. Reading becomes more comfortable. Drawing feels less cramped. Multitasking feels more natural. One change that almost feels guaranteed is the front-facing camera position. On the current mini, video calls in landscape mode feel awkward. Your eyes drift away from the camera. Apple already fixed this on newer iPads by moving the camera to the long edge. It would be genuinely surprising if the Mini 8 did not finally get this update. And once you use it, you never want to go back. Video calls feel natural. Online classes feel better. FaceTime stops feeling broken. But the biggest discussion point is the display itself. Many fans want promotion. A 120 Hz refresh rate. Smooth scrolling. Fluid animations. Apple knows this. But Apple also protects its product tiers carefully. Promotion has always been a pro feature. That makes OLED or full 120 Hz on a mini far from guaranteed. That said, Apple cannot ignore one major issue any longer. Jelly scroll. It was one of the loudest complaints about the iPad mini 6. Text wobbling during vertical scrolling. It broke the illusion of quality. Apple has every reason to fix this. A redesigned display controller. Better panel uniformity. A smarter adaptive refresh system. Even if the mini does not get full promotion, simply making scrolling feel smooth and stable would dramatically improve daily use. And then there is performance. This is where the iPad mini 8 could completely change expectations. The current mini uses the A15 chip. It is still capable, but it is clearly dated. Based on Apple's update CLE, An A17 class chip would be the minimum upgrade. That alone would bring big gains in CPU efficiency, GPU power, and machine learning tasks. But there's a growing idea that Apple may skip the A series entirely. Instead, the Mini could move to an M series chip. This is not as crazy as it once sounded. The iPad Air already uses M series chips. The iPad Pro is now fully M series. From Apple's point of view, maintaining multiple chip architectures adds complexity. And from a user point of view, an M series iPad Mini changes everything. Suddenly, this is not just a consumption device. It becomes a true pocket-sized computer. Console-level gaming, advanced photo editing, serious video work, music production, desktop-class multitasking, all in a device lighter than a paperback book. That combination would make the Mini uniquely appealing. Students, travelers, creators, power users who do not want to carry a laptop or even a larger iPad. And when you combine that potential with Apple's continued push toward more capable software, Stage Manager, external display support, more Mac-like apps, the Mini starts to feel less like a side product and more like a stealth productivity machine. Storage is another area where Apple almost has to act. A 64 gigabytes base model feels outdated in 2025, let alone 2026. Apps are bigger. Games are larger. Offline content eats space fast. A 128 gigabytes base storage option feels almost inevitable. Apple has already made similar moves across other products. Connectivity improvements also feel likely. Faster USB-C speeds, better external accessory support, more efficient 5G modems. These upgrades may not sound exciting, but they matter every single day. Cameras will improve too, even if they are not headline features. Better sensors, improved low-light performance, smarter center stage behavior. These changes add up over time. Apple Pencil support could be one of the most quietly important upgrades. If the iPad Mini 8 supports the newer Apple Pencil Pro, that changes how the device is used. Squeeze gestures, haptic feedback, barrel rotation. Suddenly, the Mini becomes an incredible digital notebook and sketchpad, perfect for students, designers, artists, anyone who values portability. But hanging over all of this is a bigger question. Does the iPad Mini still fit into Apple's long-term vision? Reports suggest Apple is experimenting with foldable devices in the 8 to 10-inch range. If that happens, the Mini could either be replaced or redefined. That is why this generation feels like a turning point. The iPad Mini 8 could be the last traditional Mini Apple ever makes. Or it could be the version where Apple finally embraces the form factor fully and elevates it to flagship status. Either way, it matters. So what should you do right now? If you need a compact tablet today and find a good deal on the current iPad Mini, it is still a solid device. It is enjoyable. It works well. But if you can wait, and if smoother scrolling, much better performance, improved cameras, more storage, and deeper Apple Pencil support sound appealing, waiting could be the smarter move. In my opinion, if Apple delivers even half of what the leaks suggest, the iPad Mini 8 will not just be another refresh. It will be the most capable small tablet Apple has ever made. It could redefine what a truly portable computer looks like. And whether it marks the beginning of a new era or the final evolution of a beloved design, it is shaping up to be one of the most interesting Apple products on the horizon. If you liked the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon.